So once again, thank you guys for joining the boot camp that we have here, the Acing Your Loan Application Boot Camp. We want to help the folks who are here on this call use their time in a really useful manner to go from being a renter to being an owner. My goal is at the end of this hour for you guys to have become very familiar with one of the largest steps that are keeping renters and people who want to become homeowners from being a homeowner, and that is the application process. We want to demystify that, and we're really glad you're here. We're going to invite you to write your questions and comments anytime you have them in the chat. I'll be checking that periodically as I present. Any aha moments also can go in the chat. So if something's completely new to you and it changes your outlook on buying a home or on investing or what you can do for your family, throw it in the chat. This is going to be about a 60-minute presentation. We will have time for question and answers live at the end, so you can type out your questions, or you can even raise your hand and we'll unmute you, whatever you want to do. So that will be great. And again, people can hear me. I haven't seen anyone say they haven't been able to hear me. So we're going to keep going forward on that. And just wondering if people can throw in the chat where you're coming in from today. Where are you at right now? And I'll share myself. My name's Amanda Gant, and I am in Cocoa Beach. And I do want to know how you're feeling about buying a home right now. If you want to share that in the chat, we'll do a shout out to you. And stick to the end, because the end of this presentation, I'm going to be sharing the 3 biggest mistakes that we as loan officers see that you can easily avoid while you're applying for a mortgage, and what to do instead. So definitely want to give you those 3 top tips. And until then, we're going to be working on our loan application boot camp. So as a home buyer, do you often feel concerned, stressed out, intimidated, anxious, uncertain? These are the words that people share with me about how they're feeling. So if you are feeling like that, you're definitely not alone. I do want to introduce myself. I'm Amanda Gant. I'm here to help this home buying journey be easier for you. I'm born in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Spent my childhood here in Cocoa Beach, Florida, ever since I was 1. Then I had started my own personal real estate journey with no savings, a job that made $45,000 a year, when I was young, and I had no knowledge about how to purchase a home. From my first home purchase, and ever since 2016, I now have a portfolio of rental properties. I now have 11 rental properties, some in DC and some in Mexico. And I'm looking to buy my first place here in Florida coming up in the next couple of months. So I'm very excited about getting my own property in Florida now. And I joined Momentum Mortgage because I wanted to bring all my experience and expertise to Floridian home buyers. So I'm really excited to help you guys out too. And a little bit more about our team at Momentum Mortgage. Our team has over 20 years in the business. We are providing support for folks as a team. So we work on quick pre-approvals, quick closings, the best terms and rate for your situation. You've got some of my other team members there. John Clark is the founder. His daughter, Ashley, is working on operations, and another loan officer, Peter Habib. You will not be treated better by this lovely team. That's why I joined them, because I actually got 5 loans from them before I decided to join their team. So again, want to go through some of the basics to get people on the same page right now. First, the overall 3,000-foot view. What are the steps to home ownership? Come to this class. You're going to learn what you need to know. Get that pre-approval with your mortgage broker. So again, this is where I want to share that we can help you with that pre-approval, and that's what this whole presentation is about. You'll see that little hyperlink right there. That hyperlink is because I also am offering free consultations of folks at any time. So I threw it in the chat window there. We are encouraging people to book calls with me so we can really get your application going, so I can learn about where you are, whether you're 6 months from buying a home or you are already shopping. We would love to help you out. And then the third step, of course, is to find that perfect home with your realtor. So now that we've seen this overview, we are on step 1, where you are going to be learning stuff that's going to help you get a home. But before we do that, we do want to make sure and talk about the benefits of buying a home, so that that is something that feels clear and is something that you own within yourself. So is buying for you? Let's take a look at this. Some people who are on this call today, there might be some reasons why you even showed up. So why are you interested in learning about qualifying for a loan to buy a house today? Go ahead and throw that in the chat. I know many of my clients care about creating wealth as well as stability for themselves, their families, future generations. So let's look at what that really looks like in numbers. In general, I want to talk about some sad state of affairs in our country. And this might be ringing true. You know people in this situation. A Money Magazine article in this August, the title is "Over Half of Older Employees Plan to Work Indefinitely and Never Retire." Maybe you know people who are experiencing this right now. However, let's take a look at what is the difference between renters and homeowners. When we look at net worth, we see that homeowners over here in the 2025 estimate have an estimated median net worth of $430,000, whereas renters have a net worth of $10,000. So I'm thinking that we can take from this kind of analysis that the folks who are not going to be working until they can't work anymore, will not retire, are most likely going to be those renters who don't have any money to fall back on in their times of retirements. We see that homeowners do have a lot of equity, and the time to start building that is now. Many people who are joining this webinar are interested in becoming homeowners. So we're really excited to share a little bit more on that journey. But first, so many people don't even apply. As the great Michael Scott said, you miss 100% of the shot you don't take. Wayne Gretzky. So we want to encourage, first of all, the folks here to take a shot on applying. Some of the reasons for that are: one, cost you nothing; two, loan officers are your friends. We're here to help you qualify. Particularly at Momentum Mortgage, we work with over 20 different lenders throughout the country. And my job is to get your application together, all the backup documents, and to get you the best deal before we even present your loan application to a lender. So definitely take the shot. You have nothing to lose and only knowledge to gain. However, as we said, many people aren't applying. So let's look at the biggest roadblocks so we can figure out how to get around those roadblocks. So some of the main roadblocks of loan applications are overwhelming paperwork, misconceptions around credit, and confusion about how much cash they're going to need to come up with out of pocket in order to close the deal. So we're going to hit these three topics one at a time and take the concern away from you. First, we'll start with the paperwork, but I've got a promise. At the end of tonight, if you stick around, you are going to know exactly how to start and finish your application. And it is something that you could finish tonight. So let's get excited. Let's figure out how we can find out how much home we can afford so we can start to go shopping. And because buying home is such a personalized experience, I do want to remind y'all, I'm offering these consultations to help you accomplish your homeownership goals. It is free, and it is really just to help all the people in my community get over that hump and to realize that home ownership can be for them. So again, you'll see that link in the chat. It's still there. And I encourage everybody to kind of click on that, find a time on my calendar, and I will be following up with you. So going ahead, paperwork and overwhelm. What lenders are looking for. So there are 4 pillars of a mortgage approval. And this is, again, just to get us all on the same page. So then when you focus on what you do need to know, you can just boom, 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 get it done quick and let the experts figure out how to help you qualify for that loan. So we are looking at income. Of course, we need to have income in order to pay for a home. Because you're getting a mortgage, you're going to be paying off that mortgage a little bit every month for the next 15, 20, or 30 years. I would stick with a 30-year mortgage personally. You're going to be paying off your mortgage a little bit month by month, which requires a stable income. So we're going to look at things such as your W-2s or if you're a contractor or consultant, your 1099s, these are forms, your tax forms. We're going to be looking at your pay stubs. If you've got Social Security, we'll be looking at your award benefits. So that's really easy. Assets. Assets is what you're going to use for down payments. So that's usually one of your savings. It can be your checking account, your savings account. It can be investment accounts you might have, stocks you might own, 401ks. And so that's going to make sure that you have enough money to pay for the down payment, closing costs, and to have some money afterwards. That's called reserves. So that once you buy that house, you can still pay your bills and continue on very well. That also concerns sourcing of large deposits. So some people make big payments, big transactions when they're getting ready to buy a home. So if you're getting gifts from family members, we need to talk about where those gifts are coming from and to make sure we've got letters. Another thing that you need to buy a home is credit. So some people have zero credit history. If they have not used a credit card or gotten a loan before, they might not have a credit history, and you need to start now. This looks at your credit scores. This looks at what exactly is on your credit report in terms of, are there other mortgages, car loans, business loans, personal loans? Are there any disputes on your credit account? Do you owe people money that is outside of the dates due? Are you late on payments? So this is everything on the credit. We can analyze that for you. And then we're looking at collateral. So the collateral is usually easy, and it is looking at the type of the property that you are getting. So we got single family homes, condos. So all of these things go together so that you can get a really huge loan that takes 30 years to pay off. So what do you actually need to know from that? You don't have to be perfect or know everything, but you do have to be prepared. So what I wanted to do in this boot camp was demystify it completely. So I wanted to do a walkthrough of a loan application. And I want to give everybody a chance to do this as well at home. So if you have a computer next to you, you can type in this link, which is www.freeapp.loan/my name, Amanda Gant. And I'm throwing that in the chat. That looks like you might have to copy and paste it. So I'm going to copy and paste it and put a little HTTP in front of it. Okay, there you go. So I think you can click on that, or you can use your cell phone and scan the QR code because our applications are working on your phone as well. But basically, this workshop is going to work best if you get started the same time I do, because you're going to be able to see what's going on so that this black box of fear disappears and you see that a loan application is very simple. And you'll also learn along the way that a loan application is not an obligation to go forward with anything. It's an invitation to discuss what your personal goals are and what your abilities are, your financial abilities to purchase a home. And then you can learn and decide what your next steps are after you have that very fact-based conversation with your loan officer. So again, encouraging people to check out the link that I put in the chat or do your little QR code and let's get started together. So on this loan application, there are a few steps I've got for identifying. First, just like any other website, you got to sign up. You got to verify your email, little password, and then you sign in. Easy. Next, you've got to make a selection. Are you here because you're going to purchase or you're going to refinance a loan? I believe if you're on this call, you're interested in purchasing because most of the community that I'm working with online are first-time home buyers. So purchase. Then you fill the blanks. It's going to be information you know, your name, your address, how long you've lived there. And then when you submit that application, a loan officer like myself is going to look at it and determine what kind of documents you need to upload to the portal. This is all very secure, and this does what it needs to do so that you can have that informed conversation about your next steps in buying a home. And all of this is free. And let's go and see what it looks like. All right, so I'm going to take you over. So I'm still sharing my screen. When you click on that link that I threw in the chat, or if you've gotten that up on your QR code here, it takes you to where you can sign in. You can apply to get a new account here, and it's just going to ask you your first name, your last name, your email to create a password. Confirm you're not a robot. Again, I told you it's as easy as signing up at any other website. So I went ahead and I already have an account. So I'm going to put my name. And again, you guys can go ahead and do this at the same time I am. All right, perfect. So now I've got to do my verification email, which I know you guys all know how to do that, but we're doing this all in real time so we can see how easy it is. So here's my email address, and I'm going to press refresh. There it is, verify. All right, we're going to verify the account. Very simple. Perfect. Now I'm going to sign in. Oh, that's right. That's wrong. Okay, let me get the correct one. Amanda at loansolutionprovider.com, and we'll sign in with that. All right, perfect. So now let's go to purchase and let's see your purchase status. Let's say I'm just getting started. It's going to be my primary residence. So again, this is, you can see all the different questions and here the different outcomes that might happen in each of those questions. So how will you be using this property? Primary residence, investment, or second home. Primary residence means you're going to live there like most of the year. Investment means you plan to rent it out. Second home is basically what it sounds like. Other people call it a vacation home. So we're going to say primary residence and get going. All right. Now it brings us to more information. What is a comfortable monthly housing payment? So that everybody has a different answer. So you don't want to say like $5 because that's not realistic. So you want to think like, maybe think, how much are you paying in rent now? Could you comfortably afford to pay a little more if it meant you got to get a nicer house? Because remember, this is something that you're going to hold for many years. So you probably want to get the best one that fits your budget. So I'm going to put 2,500. And there's no obligation for this. It's just so that we can start to understand what you're thinking. Are you currently working with a real estate agent? Again, that's just so that we have that contact information, because real estate agents and lenders often communicate closely together to help make sure that the deals happen. So if you say yes, it's going to ask their names, their cell phone number, their company name, their email address. What is the approximate price of the property you're looking at? If you're brand new, you might not know. So you can put anything in there, but if you have any ideas at all, you might have been looking on Zillow or talking to a realtor, let's just put $250,000 right now. Again, there's no obligation to stick with this. It's just to help us understand how much do you have for down payment. So you need to look at your savings. You need to think about your down payment and closing cost plan. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the presentation. For the down payment, I have $10,000 saved. I've been working hard, and I have it in a checking account. That sounds great. My loan amount will be $240,000. And next, we're going to personal information, save and continue. Very easy. All right, please fill out your legal name. So you got a middle name, throw it in there. Here's where you can put in your information here, your cell phone at least. Where do you live? You're going to want to put down your address. I'll put an old address that I have from Washington, D.C., which hopefully it'll come out. Okay, so that I can actually do that. All right, and that's going to be DC, Washington, DC. Again, just put in whatever address you want. So if you're doing this live, that's great. There we go, DC, Washington, zip code, and the country is the United States. I am renting there, let's just say. The monthly rent is $1,800, we'll just say, and I've lived there for 5 years. So if you've lived there for less than 2 years, it'll just ask you for an additional address where you lived at before. So all of these questions are going to be feeding into a uniform application. So basically the whole United States, in anything that's like a mortgage that's sponsored by the United States government, has the same kind of application. So these questions are all standard. and all of the process is pretty standard. But our company has been able to invest in a really nice website and format to help make it easy for you. Also, if you speak Spanish instead or you prefer, we've got this handy little button up top here. You see where it says Español, and you click it. I'm not going to click it now, but you can click it and it'll translate things into Spanish. So we've lived there for 5 years and 0 months, let's say. And are you an active military or veteran? If you say yes, it asks you a little bit more information. And if you say no, you just move on. Residency type, you've got 3 selections. I'm going to say U.S. citizen. Marital status, there are only 3 options. And this is amazing because it could get really complicated. You're either currently married, unmarried, or separated. Perfect. And then if you're unmarried, it says, do you have a partner who's not married to you but has property rights similar? You will know if that's the case or not. Do you have any dependents? Yes. If so, you say how many and their ages. So I'll say no. Do you have a preferred language? You can pick your favorite language. This informs us. So for instance, I speak Spanish. So anyone who wants to click Spanish, and I'm going to be working with you. Eso es cierto. Entonces, and then we go on. And then now it's talking about co-borrowers. So if you have a co-borrower, you add them in and you fill out the similar information about them. It's going to invite them to apply as well. So they will get their own link so that they can fill out all of this information. You will just tell first name, last name, email address, and phone number. However, I do not. So I'm going to say I am applying solely. And you can see all the little journey here, these little buttons here. But going through it page by page helps us answer those questions you might not know. So this is where we enter in our income details. If you are employed by a company, self-employed, or military income, the best thing to do is to look at your pay stub. So you just put in the information of where you work, your position, start date, all this thing, and then you talk about your income details. You can either do salaried or hourly. Your pay stub is going to be a really great place to get this information, but that's also why we collect your pay stubs and your W-2s, is because we are going to verify that and help you out. So do your best here, but we are going to verify and help you out as well. So I'm going to have to fill in something here probably, or else it won't let me go on. So I'm going to make the start date a couple years ago. So say I started to work in 2019 because it asks for 2 years of employment history. I put the phone number for your work because during the process of the loan application, we will probably have to call your employer at least one time to verify that you're working there. Let's see. Let's say that I make $150,000 annually, and then I will save. Perfect. I work at SGAG. That's my company. I don't have any other income, no other income sources for this exercise, so I will continue. Asset, what do you mean? Well, let's just click on the button and see what happens. Oh, asset is talking about something you have that is of value. The most common ones that most people are going to have are checkings or savings accounts. So we'll just go with checkings, and you check your bank statement, or you go online to your bank and you see how much money you have in your checking account. Let's say it's $6,543 and it's at the bank. Joas Facio is the bank number. There you go. And you save it. You're going to have to send us your bank statements. So we will definitely be able to double verify that as well. Next is liabilities. So for liabilities, I'm going to encourage people to not fill this out. And the reason is, so this is a little pro tip you get for being here, is that we're going to pull your credit later, and the credit is going to show us all of your liabilities that show up on your credit report, which is generally all of your liabilities. So you don't have to guess. You don't have to remember them all. When you get to liabilities, move on to the next page. Let's go to real estate. Do you own any real estate? So let's say you do, and then you just put in the information, the address, how much it's worth, how do you use it? Again, are you living there? Investment, second home. Are you selling it? Are you keeping it? Or did you already sell it? A lot of people, when they're buying a home, they're selling their property in order to do that. But again, most people here are first-time home buyers, so we're going to say no. Next is declarations. So declarations are a set of standard questions that every time you apply for a mortgage loan in the United States that is sponsored by the United States government, you have to answer. These are pretty basic questions. Don't lie on any of them, because if you do, if you've been looking at the news, a lot of people get in trouble for mortgage fraud. People are losing their jobs. People are getting kicked out of the really high ranking positions because they've lied about some of these. So just tell the truth. Pretty much everything can be worked out. Will you occupy this as your primary residence? We need to know the answer, yes or no. So we're going to say yes in this case. Have you owned another property in the last 3 years? It's yes or no. The answer just helps us know which loan programs that you'll be qualified for. So we're going to say no. Is this a purchase transaction, as this is? Do you have a family relationship or business affiliation with the seller of the property? Right now, I'm currently working with clients who are purchasing a home from their parents. And so they'll say yes. And guess what? That loan is still going through. We just have to document it. So I think if you're getting the broad picture here, a lot of these questions is really just because we need to know the answer so that we can help make sure we get a loan program that's going to go through for you. Perfect. Now this one, are you borrowing any money for this real estate transaction? So any money to help you get closing costs or down payments, or obtaining any money from another party, such as a seller or realtor that you've not disclosed on this application. So the answer here needs to be no, and I'll tell you why, because realtors and mortgage lenders and sellers are not allowed to give you money ahead of time outside of transactions to help you have the money you need to buy a home. It's just not allowed. Can't happen. So, if you say yes and you're telling the truth, okay, you're not going to get that loan. But if you say no, it's on paper, it's registered for the entire length of the mortgage. So if you say no and people find out that you said yes, you're gonna be in trouble. So I'm not gonna be, talking about ethics very much more, but all these answers you just have to say. Let's see. Will you be applying for a mortgage loan on another property, not this property, but a different one, at the same time on or before closing this transaction that's not disclosed on this loan application? So yeah, don't do that. Don't go and apply for two loans for two different places. People are gonna find out, you're gonna get in trouble. One of these high-ranking officials did that, and now she's getting kicked out of her job. So don't do that. Just say no. Will you be applying for any new credit, an installment loan, a credit card on or before closing this loan that's not disclosed on this application? Biggest tip of the world. If you want to get a house, do not get any other credit. It will cut into how much house you can afford. And it will also potentially mess up your credit score, your debt to income ratio. So don't do it. And if you're thinking about getting a car, get a house first. Get a cheap car that you can afford. Don't get a big one. You get a $900 car payment because like, yeah, I can afford it. I'm rolling big. You will not be able to afford a house. That's my idea for you. Don't do that. So will you apply for any credit cards? Say no and don't do it. And then some of these are really specific. So you can put no to this one, which asking if there's an energy lien paid for your property taxes. Just say no, because if the house you end up choosing ends up having a lien such as this, we will change it to yes. Are you a co-signer on any debt or loan that's not disclosed in this application? A lot of people sometimes co-sign on someone else's car. It might not show up on their credit report. You just have to say yes or no. It's not going to necessarily disqualify you from getting a loan. You have to be disclosing these things. Any outstanding judgments against you, meaning does somebody say that you owe them money and you have to pay them, but you haven't yet? Are you delinquent or in default on a federal debt? So do you owe taxes? Do you owe child support? Other things like that. If you do, and you better just say yes or no. And we'll find out also, not to be rude, but we got to pull your credit at some point. So we're just trying to save you time and money so that you can tell us what it is and we can kind of talk it out together. Are you a party to a lawsuit in which you potentially have any personal financial loss liability? Or is somebody trying to sue you? You know if that's happening or not. Just because that's happening doesn't mean you can't get a loan, but you got to disclose it so we can talk about it and see what the timeline is and what we can do for you. Have you conveyed title and foreclosure in the past 7 years? Did you give back a property instead of having it foreclosed on you? And then this next one is, have you done a pre-foreclosure sale or short sale? Did you have to sell your property on less money than you owed on it? So that's something that can happen sometimes. Have you had a property foreclosed upon, so you weren't able to sell it and the bank had to take it back in the past 7 years? Sometimes can happen, yes or no. Have you declared bankruptcy within the past 7 years? Yes or no. And so if you have, we'll find out on your credit report anyway. And there are some loan programs that can start working as soon as 2 years after bankruptcy. So it's not the end of the world, but we have to have all these questions, and we don't make the questions up. The programs make these questions up, the government programs, and that allows everybody in America to have much more affordable loans than elsewhere in the whole entire world. I'm talking about people can get loans with 0% down. Try doing that in any other country. It's at least 20%. In some countries, it's 50% down. So we are lucky. Let's be homeowners. Demographics, again, these questions we don't ask. You can answer them, or not, but if you don't answer them, I have to answer them. So it's much easier if you answer them, and it's just the standard everything. What is your race? Are you Latino or not? Are you male or female? And there you go. So we are back, and now we're getting on to the very last portions. You see, it's all stuff but I just want you to know what to expect. Now, this is where you put in your birthday. I'll make it like something older. This is where you put in your social security number. I'm not going to put a real one in. And do it again, confirm. Estimated credit score. So you just gonna put that there and you save. And then this is if you're looking for a non-QM loan. So people might be like, what is a non-QM loan? That means a loan that is not a normal loan. So if you're a first-time home buyer, the answer here is going to be not going for a non-QM loan, and that's going to be perfect. And now look at that, review and submit. You are done. This is golden. You did it all today. If you've been doing it with me on the phone, you're ready to submit and everything's awesome. So let's see, let's just review. Obviously it's all review. You can go back and edit it. If you didn't get this far and you stop, you can it saves and you can come back into your account and finish it. You can edit it up until you submit, but don't worry, once you submit, maybe you can't edit it anymore, but I can. So everything is fine. How did you hear about us? Let's say friends. I was on the webinar, social media, cool. And then anything else we should know about your financial situations? A lot of people might throw something in here like, oh, I don't know, I'm taking care of my dad, or I'm getting a new job next week, something like that. We will talk to you about it. Anything you want to talk about, it's up to you to put that in there. It's optional. Now it says proceed to consents. You're ready to submit. Before submitting, you have to review and provide these consent forms. Once you submit the application, you will no longer have access to it. So then you'll need to work with your loan officer if you have any questions. So this now is saying I give authorization to order credit and verify financial history. People might get scared here. They might be scared. Oh, they're going to pull my credit. My credit's going to go down. Let's see what the second consent is. I, Amanda Gant, agree to and acknowledge the receipt of disclosures and consent to do business electronically. So what does that mean? So you can click on it and you can read all the stuff, but basically it's saying, I'm going to do business electronically. My e-signature counts as my signature kind of thing. Perfect. And again, you can look at this one and read this. It's talking about how lenders are pulling your credit report just in connection to this loan. So let's go ahead and agree and we'll submit. That being said, we don't pull your credit immediately. So you've submitted this application. We're not pulling it. We're not pulling your application until we talk with you. We learn about your situation and we all decide that we want to go forward and see if this loan can work. So let's see. Thanks for joining me on that journey. And we're going to hop back into the presentation over here. Let's see. So if you made it through that, you can definitely apply for a loan and it's going to be no problem at all for you. So again, if you didn't get started, we've got this in the chat box here. We go check the chat box, open this up, at least put in your email address, along with your password and get that application open. And why? Because it's all about creating momentum. If you do the same thing you did yesterday, you're still not going to be a homeowner. All right. So at the beginning, I talked about 3 things that keep people from applying for loans, keep them from becoming homeowners. The first one was paperwork overwhelm. There's been a lot of steps in that application. I think you saw that it's everything you already know, and it took like 15 minutes to go through this. So let's talk about some credit myths, because people start to get a little bit scared when they talk about pulling their credit, looking at their credit. So our top three problems that I've seen in my business that people have. People think they need to have perfect credit to buy. How many times have I heard, my credit's not ready yet? Oh, no, 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 my credit's not ready. Let me tell you something. So first, go ahead and check your estimated score on any of your favorite websites, like Credit Karma, Experian, myfico.com. Your favorite credit card most likely has a credit score tracking section on it. And if you have anything from 580 or above, a loan is at least possible. Let's see what we can do. Lower scores often might mean that you will have slightly higher interest rates or slightly higher mortgage insurance payments, but it doesn't mean you can't get a home. Again, why put yourself out of the race? Let's look at the facts, and you can do that by talking to a mortgage broker who knows the facts and can get that information to you. Next, checking my own credit hurts my score. No, you can check your credit all the time. Soft pulls, which are you're going to any of those websites that I talked about, don't affect your scores. You can always check in and see how it's going up and down. This is something that is good for your empowerment. So what is the difference? There's a hard inquiry, which is when you're really serious about seeking new credit. So every time you open a credit card or look for a different loan, a business or personal loan, or in this case, a mortgage, you will have a hard credit inquiry that will stay on your credit report. But the hit is very small. We're talking 5 to 10 points. And after a month, it will rebound. And when you're shopping for a mortgage, you can have multiple mortgage lenders check your credit score in the same 30-day period, and it does not hurt your credit multiple times. So don't be worried about that hurting your credit score. The kind of things that hurt your credit score way more are being late on payments. The other thing that hurts your credit score is having a lot of credit card debt that you're not paying off. So carrying very high balances on your credit card. So here's another thing, closing old cards boosts my score. So I used to think, oh my God, I have so many credit cards open. I opened a credit card at TJ Maxx to get like 10% off. I opened a credit card to get these free miles. I opened a credit card like when I was 18. I probably, these credit cards are probably hurting me. I should do some spring cleaning and simplify my finances. That's not the way it works. Keep your credit cards open. Yes, you can maybe organize yourself so you know how many credit cards you have. Maybe make a list and save it somewhere on your computer of all the credit cards you have and how to sign in, their websites or something. Keep them open, because the more credit cards you have, the more credit you have access to. So if you keep a balance on one or two cards of like, let's say 500 and 1,000, but you've got $20,000 in available credit because you haven't closed any of your credit cards, your utilization rate is much lower, which keeps your credit score up. So if you have, like, let's say you had 5 credit cards and they all had a limit of $2,000, and you're like, I'm going to close them all and just keep one open. I'm going to put all my money on that one, $2,000, and take it to the brim. Now you're at 100% utilization rate, which brings your credit score down. Whereas if you kept all 5 open and you had a $2,000 balance on, a few here, that's a very low utilization rate, and it keeps your credit score up. So keep open your credit cards and everything's going to be okay. So these are some credit myths. I wanted to share them because I don't want credit to be a reason that people don't become homeowners and don't start to build that equity, which is going to help them in their later years, and it's going to provide stability for their families starting now. So perfect. Let's see this. And the very last thing that we were looking at is that people think they are confused about cash to close, how much money they need to buy a home. So we're going to take you from confusion to clarity in about 3 minutes. 70% of Americans think they need at least 10% down to buy a home. How much do you think is needed? Throw it in the chat. Do you agree with most Americans that we need 10% or more down of the purchase price to buy a home? The truth is, you don't need to put 10% or 20% down on your home necessarily. Here is these statistics from Experian that says that the average down payment on a US home is 13%, but for first-time home buyers, the average down payment is 7%. So don't worry about that. If the average is 7% for first-time home buyers, that means some people are putting less and some people are putting more. So you will choose what works for you. And so how much should you put down? You definitely can put 20% down. I've got a whole menu of options here, and you can decide, and some of it depends on if you're a first-time home buyer and how much income you have. So the first three options are available to everyone who's buying a primary home. You can put 20% down. You can put as little as 5% down. If you get an FHA loan, you can put 3.5% down. So you're getting, less money down. Now, if you want to put less than 3.5% down, the options are available for you if you are a first-time home buyer and if you make less than $80,000 in the state of Florida. So you have to be what is called moderate or low income and be a first-time home buyer. So 3% is available to mostly everybody. I'm working on a few of these 3% down loans right now for some of my clients. And then we also have some other programs specific to Momentum Mortgage that can help people out who even want to put down less than. We have a 1% down loan, and we also have a 0% down FHA loan. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, definitely make a consultation call with me, and we will figure out how much money you need to close. Now, I want to share with you action plans and next steps. You guys have invested your time. We want to make sure it's not just knowledge in, but knowledge creates change and creates action in your life. The bonus of the top 3 application mistakes is still coming up, but we want to give you an action plan. Here's your 48-hour action plan. First step, finish the online application. It will take you 5 to 10 minutes. We started it already. If you didn't start yet, you've got the link in the chat box. You've got the QR code right there. Then you gather your required documents. So once you create that application, you're going to be requested documents in the portal, and you'll upload to the portal ID, pay stub, bank statements, your W-2s or 1099s, or Social Security award letters. And then your third step is to book your call with me. We'll have a 15-minute chat, longer if you like it. We can start the application when we have the call. We can talk about your situation, and there's no obligation. All of this is about you gaining clarity. So here's our recap of what we've discussed today. 1, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So we are very much encouraging you to take this shot to find out if you can get a home. Applying is free, and it is the best and probably only way to find out if you can get a home. How much that home will cost, how much it will cost you per month, how much money you need to have now in order to get it, and then you can start shopping. We have done a page-by-page walkthrough of the loan application. You've had a chance to think through if there are any things that might be concerning you, so that when you start your application, nothing is going to surprise you. We've talked about the basic documents that support a loan application. We will make sure that we guide you through that to make sure that you can get the loan that's right for you. We've gone through the top 3 credit myths. We've talked about the rule of savings in your qualification, that you can decide what amount of down payment you want to do. And we have given you a call to action to change your life through home ownership. Awesome. So now I want to thank you guys. Has your time on this free webinar been well spent? Go ahead, let me know in the chat. I'll be watching it there. I can say for sure that I don't know what anyone here knew about home buying process before this webinar, but I do think it's a safe bet that something we covered today was new and valuable to you. I'd like you to think back to 15 minutes ago. Are you feeling better off, calmer, more informed about applying for a mortgage now, having completed these 50 minutes? Do you feel more confident in being able to purchase a home? Put yes or no in the chat. Yeah, I'm seeing some yeses in the chat. Would you like to spend more time with me, where my team and I are personally invested in your home buying success? And if the answer is yeah, again, I'm offering these free consultations for a limited time to help you accomplish your home ownership goals. All you got to do is click the link in the chat to schedule your call. You can start your loan application, or you can have a call with me to talk about your specific situation. Whichever action you take, you're going to be moving forward, which is what we're about at Momentum, is moving forward. If you decide to take a look at my booking link, you're going to be brought to a calendar that looks like this, and you'll find some times when I'm available to chat, and you just pick one that works for you, and it'll send us both a little invitation, and I will be giving you a call. The consultative call is all about giving you what you need to know about when you can buy a home, the budget for your home, so that you can become a homeowner and secure your future on your timeline with your goals. So one of my webinars attendees definitely had a call with me, and here's what she had to say. I left the call understanding what I could afford and even a few examples of properties. I know who to call when I'm ready to buy. So this is a little place that I found for her that fit her budget. So even for $939 a month, we've got amazing options all throughout Florida. And we'd love to help you get the financing you need to get to a home that's going to support your goals. So again, check it out. I've got the link in the chat. I got a QR code right here if you'd like to do that on your phone. And definitely we are up for Q&A time. So anyone who can, definitely go ahead and ask me a question, throw it in the chat. But I've got a few here, some of the best questions that I've received over the years. People always want to know, how quick can I get a house after I get pre-approved? Well, this also depends on how quickly you can find a house that you like, and then can you negotiate your contract. So once you've got a contract negotiated, you want to have 30 days. If we can do it faster, we certainly will. But it's great to give 30 days because it gives you a chance to get everything out of the way from your inspections, your appraisals, and then enough time to make sure that you're going to have that mortgage on the day that you want to close. Almost forgot. Here's the bonus that people were waiting for. 3 big mistakes on a loan application. 1, unsourced large deposits in the last 60 days. So have you been saving money under your mattress because you think someone's going to hack your account, or just in case? Or did you get a lot of big money from selling something? No matter what it is, you don't want to leave that cash under your mattress and think that you can use it to buy a home. You're going to need to put it into a bank account. And if it's cash from yourself, you're going to need to do that over time, because lenders look at the past 2 months of your what do you call this? Your bank statements, and they need to see regularity in where your money's coming from. So if you are keeping your cash under your mattress and you want to buy a home, put your cash in your bank account now, so that won't be a problem for you 2 or 3 months from now. Let it age. If you've sold something large, something that costs a lot of money, let's say a boat, don't just do a cash and give the boat away, or, maybe a boat you can't because it's registered, but if you have a receipt, create a receipt, perhaps have the person pay you with a check or some kind of online payment device so that you can have a paper trail. Or else you won't be able to use that money in order to use for the down payment and closing costs. They won't let you. Again, don't sign up for those new credit cards during the process. Or if some family member says, please co-sign on the car, I promise I'm going to pay every payment. Even if they do, you co-sign on anything for somebody else, that directly cuts into your ability to get a home. That directly cuts into your ability to take care of yourself and your family for your future. So don't do that until after you get your house, and then figure out how much money you can afford to. And on the income, don't just guess how much income you make. So we went over this on the application. Pull out your pay stub and just put the exact amounts in. It's going to be much better on us. It's going to give you a better estimate at the beginning stages. So those are the 3 big mistakes and what you can do instead. Thanks for sticking till the end for the bonus. And I didn't see any other questions in the chat at this time. So I think at this time, we got a couple minutes before we reach our hour mark. And I just want to say one more time, thank you guys so much for joining me. And we really think that you're going to be great homeowners, and we are going to be honored if you let me and my team serve you and help you get over those obstacles so that you can become a homeowner. See ya.